So I feel like we're going back to roots we had before and going, okay, let's go back to where we had bulletin boards and Facebook groups where you could actually reach the people in your group. Instead, let's have that group elsewhere, Discord, wherever, so that people can actually reach the authors that they want to be in touch with. Instead of when they follow you, then they really get to follow you. When they connect with you, they really get to connect with you, not this artificial connection.
Well, welcome to Pros Talking Prose, everybody. Today, Troy and I are going to be talking writing and the author business world. We talk publishing, we talk all things related to how to make your author business successful. So we're glad you're here. And if this is your first time joining us, we welcome you. You're welcome to like, subscribe, and follow. It doesn't cost you a thing. Please just let us know that you like us and you like to hear more. So we would appreciate that. Today, we're going to talk a little bit. It was a weird day.
Oh, it was
So
a
much
weird day,
happened.
but hang on. This is going to be an exclusive episode.
Yeah.
We're going to talk
Okay.
about exclusivity.
And we're going to talk about
Okay.
exclusivity. So I'm going to start,
Scarcity. Yes.
scarcity and that kind of thing. I want to start off talking about something that maybe some of you understand or know, but some of you maybe don't. I like luxury brands and luxury things. And so every once in a while, something come across my desk where it's like a story about a luxury brand, like Chanel or, anyway, one that came across my desk a couple of days ago was the story about the Burberry tartan brand, like the tartan plaid. It was a plaid with black
It's
and
like a
red
brownish
stripes.
plaid.
Mm-hmm.
Black
Brown
and red.
black.
Brown
It
and
had
red.
black stripes with red little stripes. It's actually very distinctive. If people see it, they'll know it. Because it became very, very popular. What happened is when it originated, I think it started in the 1800s. What they would do is they would put it on the inside of their coats and the inside of their products. And Burberry was always well known for being a very high-end luxury brand. It was something that not everybody could afford. It was very, very exclusive and very, very posh. And anyway, fast forward some time later, they decided some people were starting to market the tartan, the tartan color, the plaid, and they would cuff the coats so that people could see, she's wearing
Oh,
Burberry,
yes.
it's very
Yes.
posh. And then Burberry thought, well, this is this is fun. And I think a lot of luxury brands, I think, kind of started to do this, especially in the 80s. Versace did this. A lot of people did this.
Mm-hmm.
Louis Vuitton did this, where they started to make things a little more accessible to the Joe Schmo, the Stacy, who just wants to have, one little piece of something, right? And so they put the tartan on a lot of stuff, like hats, shoes, suitcases, things that people could afford, everyday people could afford. And while they were still a little expensive and pricey, it was more affordable for those average people. And what they did is they made the Burberry brand just kind of explode. Then out came all the copies. I mean, this happens with Coach and all kinds of other luxury brands. You get all these copies.
Copycats.
Yeah. And then what happens is it just kind of cheapens it. And one of the things that Burberry did in response to this is they actually recalled a lot of their products that had the tartan plaid on the outside of their products, and they pulled them all back. And they went back to a very streamlined color palette and removed the tartan from the exterior of their stuff. And what was really interesting is that what they did by doing that is they said, we're done being everybody's product. That wasn't the purpose of what we were a luxury brand. We wanted to remain exclusive. And it wasn't necessarily because they weren't making any money. It had nothing to do with money. It was not money motivated. What it was motivated by the limited and the the specialness that you felt when you were wearing or you bought something that was Burberry. And I thought this was quite interesting in terms of branding, because as authors and as publishing company and as people who are marketing to the public, a lot of times people come into this business and they think, and I've even heard you say this a couple times to other people, where like, that's not the rule, that's not what we should be focused on, but it's like, authors want everybody to read their book. They want, I
Mm-hmm.
want as many people to read my book as possible. But in the process of doing that, sometimes we dilute or we cheapen our brands and we cheapen what we do. And in fact, we can see a huge surge of people just pushing out product and pushing out product and pushing out product using AI to just push out as much product as possible. But what you're doing is you're diluting the quality or the prestige that comes with creating art, and that comes from being somebody who buys and reads books. If you think about it, for the longest time, for the eons in our human history, the privilege to read and to sit and read and to have and hold books has always been a privilege. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that over time we've cheapened this privilege. And I feel like this is a good opportunity for Troy and I to kind of talk about, not just, I'm not talking about authenticity, because although that's kind of part of it, this is more or
Yeah.
less just creating a place where you can fit and be comfortable in your bubble, in your niche, in your world that you create as an author brand. And this really speaks to what Troy had recently shared and wrote in his Substack recently. I can't remember the title of it.
Yep.
Something about like,
Yeah. I'll talk about that in
okay,
just a second.
yeah, but I want to kind of talk about like what this looks like when it comes to an author and what you're doing for your
Yes.
readers. So
Because
what? Yeah.
so let me give some background with this. So first of all, I have a friend of mine. I'm not going to call him a good friend, but he's a friend of mine. His name's Rand Fishkin. He was the founder of Moz. Then he founded this little company called SparkToro. And when he founded SparkToro, he did things extremely differently compared to other software companies who do the typical venture capital thing of basically we raise a bunch of money, we bring a bunch of investors in, and the idea is to do an IPO or sell as quickly as
Mm-hmm.
possible, right? And instead, he wanted to create a company where he could make a sustainable living and stay within that company. In part, that's the reason is because he exited Moz and stuff like that. But he was talking about this thing. So I was like, hey, man, you got time for a quick call? Because I'm like, my friend Stacy and I are starting a publisher and just want to bend your ear a little bit about the business side of things. Because
Mm-hmm.
this is a guy who knows what he's talking about, right? And one of the things that he was talking about is doing things differently so that you're not trying to appeal to everyone. And he was talking about incentives and branding and stuff like that. And so Stacy and I got off on this topic. Um, but also, then I wrote an article in response to an article that was about the music industry, about basically how your bookshelf has become tap water.
Oh,
It's
that's right.
become a
Yeah.
commodity.
Mm-hmm.
So writing and books have become a commodity. So we're just trying to sell a commodity, but the more places we sell it, the more it gets diluted, because each of those spaces, like Spotify with music and now with books as well, as an example, is they don't have anything different than what anybody else has. Everybody has the exact same books that and audio books and things that they have access to. Spotify has very few things that are exclusive to Spotify, right? So you can get what they're selling anywhere. So then it just all becomes about a preference of which service that you like. But if you
Right.
like Apple instead, or if you like Google instead, or Amazon instead, or whatever, it doesn't really matter because you're getting the same thing. The only way for someone like that to survive, for example, an author selling things on their website, is to offer something unique to a small community. So instead of trying to reach a mass audience, you're trying to reach a micro community of fans who will care about you forever. Until the day that you die or the day that they die, they will care about you and your stuff because they like you. and your brand and your persona that you put forward. So the way to create this micro community is very similar to what luxury brands do, is instead you have things that are exclusive, that are only produced by your brand, that you can only get them in certain places and certain locations. And it changes the perception and changes the game from it being, oh, that ebook is $7.99 instead of $3.99. I'm not going to pay twice as much for that guy's ebook as I'm going to pay for somebody else's, because I can get that ebook anywhere.
Let me
Right?
just put a little caveat here, and because I don't want people to get the wrong idea. What
Oh yeah.
I'm not going to be in the camp that you should be exclusive to Amazon. Like, and
Oh
that's why,
no.
and that's kind of where I want to make sure that you understand that that's not what we're saying here. When we
Yeah,
say
we'll
exclusive,
get there,
we'll
but
get
yeah,
there.
no.
But I want you to understand right out of the gate, right now, before you click out of here, and go somewhere else. We're
Go do
not
something
saying,
else more entertaining.
yeah, please don't misunderstand us. We are not telling you to be exclusive to a specific platform. And the reason we're not saying that is because, you are providing a product for somebody else to make them money, not the other way around. And so when we're
Right.
talking about exclusive, we'll talk about things that what we mean by this here in a minute, but I want you to understand that that's not what we're talking
Yeah.
about when we're talking about
In
being
other words,
exclusive.
this is not about Kindle Unlimited, and I'll explain
Right.
why in a minute. Just like it's not like an artist being exclusive to Spotify
Or
or one of the other
ACX.
music streaming services.
Yeah.
Because
Mhm.
where musicians are making money, so the lessons we as authors need to learn is by offering other things. And what has happened with those platforms like Amazon and Spotify and Google Books and Apple Books and all that even, is that they have required us as authors and as musicians and artists of all kinds to move the big dollar transactions that have a high profit margin off of their platforms.
Right.
Because that's the only way that we can directly connect with our readers and our
Right.
fans.
Exactly.
So we cannot sell those things on their websites because it will not work. It won't work for our community building. Anyway, so in that process, I'll talk about this sweater right here.
Yeah.
Because, okay, so if you know Plot Dude, okay, Big Lebowski, big fan of the Big Lebowski. Now, the Big Lebowski is a movie with a cult following, and either you love it or you don't.
I don't understand it.
It is,
but it's fine.
There's actually a wonderful thread that runs through it to understand, but many people cannot get past many of the things like the language, the drug use, the nudity, could have all kinds of things that trip you up.
I just can't stop thinking about, Jeff Bridges and his little dance. I just can't.
Yes. But think about it. This sweater. So where did this sweater come in for the movie?
Oh,
well,
wasn't it when he was just becoming like the guru?
This was Jeff Bridges' sweater.
Yeah, that was Jeff Bridges'
that
sweater,
but he was on set.
Yeah.
So the Pendleton is who makes this sweater. It's a wool sweater.
So, wait. So wait, it wasn't part of his costume. It was Jeff Bridges' sweater.
It belonged to him.
Oh, that's awesome.
He wore it on the set, and the Coen brothers said, "That's the dude's sweater."
Yeah,
because Jeff Bridges was so much the dude.
He was the dude.
So this sweater was already like it existed.
Yeah.
This existed. It's called the Westerly. It existed, but it was not nearly as expensive and exclusive before, even though Pendleton sweaters in general are a little pricier and a little exclusive, but it wasn't the same until it appeared in that movie. Now, when you buy this sweater, there's a little tag that comes on it that's a set of bowling pins.
Oh,
that
nice.
tells you it is a genuine Westerly. This is a very expensive sweater, right? Is it any better than any other wool sweater? No, unless you know the significance of it. If I wear this out in public, there are two groups of people. Those people that go, "That's kind of a cool sweater, man." And those people that go, "Far out, man." Far out, because they understand where it came from, right?
Right.
The reason is this is identified now with a certain movie and a
Right.
certain brand, right?
Right.
Those who know about this are in. Those who don't know about it or don't like the movie. In fact, I had a writer friend of mine recently who also happens to be a pastor's wife ask
Oh
me
no.
about the Big Lebowski, and I made some recommendations that maybe she not watch it, or at least not watch it with her children
Yeah.
anywhere present.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is not the, you aren't going to tell your friends at Sunday school, I watched this great movie, The Big Lebowski,
No, you're not.
last night. You're not, okay? So look, anyway, but the point of the thing is that this is branding. So when
Hmm.
I wear this and say I'm the plot dude, you know that you can expect a certain brand of casual, Zen-like, little Buddhist-like
A little
stuff
woo
in my
woo
courses,
stuff. Yeah.
in my stuff like that, because I believe in the woo-woo side of writing, and I believe
Hmm.
there's a spiritual connection and things like that. I'm not going to get into all that because that's not our topic tonight. But I mean, but it all comes back to branding. Okay.
Hmm.
So when we're talking about exclusive stuff, I want to take cues from the music industry, and I want to give a really quick example, and then we can move
Good.
on to some other stuff.
No,
Because
that's
of
great.
course, I'm dominating all the time. But so I've been following this band Blue October since back when Justin was a heroin addict and he was super messed up, right?
Oh, okay.
Um, for like probably 25 years now, maybe
Hmm.
something like that. Through all of their different albums, I have my favorite albums of theirs and stuff like that. Recently, they came out with some album covers that were signed by the band, right?
Nice.
And they had a set of four and I'm like clicking on it with dread, like this is going to be so expensive. There's no way I'm going to be able to afford this. I could have afforded it. It was $180. There were only 50 of them, of those collections, and they sold out in a matter of minutes,
Nice.
right? Now, there's some individual album covers that are $50 a piece that are signed by the band. There's about 150 of each of those. So I
Hmm.
ordered one of those from their favorite album of mine, which is Approaching Normal. For those of you,
Hmm.
go ahead, look it up. It's not as hard as Sleep Token, so relax. Your ear balls will be okay if you listen to it. Um, but but the point is that I was willing to lay out way more money than that for that
Hmm.
album cover, not because that picture in that frame is any more valuable than any other picture I have on my wall, because I have some great art on my walls. Stacy knows I have
Hmm.
an artist from one of Howard Lyon's canvas prints that's one of 30.
Hmm.
I mean, in the world, right? So, I mean, I have exclusive art, I have fancy art. It's not that. It was the value is more in the connection, the community that I've had with him, to watch him go from being a heroin addict to being a fairly Western or fairly Eastern religion, spiritual guy who's a dad who has his family together now at home instead
Hmm.
of the divorces he had before. He has his kids with him rather than being the drug addict. Their parents are keeping him away from them, stuff like that. I've seen him through that whole journey.
Hmm.
So I'm a part of his community, a part of their community, and they matter to me.
Hmm.
So when I look at that album cover, I don't see just an album cover with some signatures on it. That's not what I
Right.
see. I
Right.
see the community and the connection. That's the kind of community that you want with your readers, is the
Right.
people who get a signed book of yours, not because they can sell it on eBay later, but because it means something to them,
Hmm.
because you mean something to them. That's the kind of connection you want with your readers. That's the kind of connections that musical artists are looking at with their followers, is they're not trying to reach mass audiences. They created 50 of those. They didn't create 5,000. They created 50.
A really good example of this outside of the book community, but also that ties in is a man in particular that I actually became a really good fan of. So I had the opportunity to work with Kevin Keyser. Kevin Keyser, for those of you who don't know, is better known as Killer Cross in the WWE and now on the independent circuit. He is a wrestler, and he and his wife, who goes by the stage name Scarlett, are beautiful to look at. But What's amazing about those two is that they're actually beautiful inside as well. One of the things that Kevin did a masterful job at, and I'm sure that Scarlett had some hand in this as well, is that they were able to create a brand that extended far beyond the WWE. And so while they were building their brand inside and outside of that franchise, when they decided to leave, those fans followed them. And
Mm-hmm.
they are now followed by this mass surge of people that are following Kevin in his independent career that probably normally would have just stuck with the WWE and stayed inside that franchise.
Mm-hmm.
But they followed him because they were devoted to him. He did honestly, he did an amazing job. Him and Scarlett both
Mm-hmm.
creating super fans. And they did it
Mm-hmm.
by connecting with them and being, in a lot of ways,
Mm-hmm.
authentic on and off the stage, and that's really tough to
Mm-hmm.
do considering what kind of
Yeah.
sport we're talking about here. But he is an
Considering how
amazing,
real wrestling really is
right,
in the
right,
WWE.
right.
Yeah.
But he is is a real person like that is
Right.
very good at what he does and takes his job very seriously and also just wonderful. Like I said,
Mm-hmm.
some people you can just see that they're good people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he is one of those. And so I, not a fan of WWE, have become a fan of Kevin Keyser of Killer Cross, and I follow him frequently. In fact, he does such a good job at culturing and nurturing his fans that when I text him, Merry Christmas, Kevin. I hope you and Scarlett, and I call her her real name, but I hope you guys are having an amazing Christmas. He will text me back and say, "Hey, Stace, thanks. That's awesome. I hope you guys are doing good." And I
Mm-hmm.
get a personal message back from him. And it's the same thing. Like just the other day, he posted something. He was in Transylvania for something, and he was talking about an upcoming match, and he was being authentic, Kevin. And I said, "Man, you really know how to be authentic." And I was just one of like 400 comments. I
Mm-hmm.
was in the mix, And he responded to me. He says, "Yeah, I can't wait to get back to the States." And he was just like, and I'm like, and I know it's him because otherwise, it would be a little more. He knows how to let
Mm-hmm.
me know it's him. And what's really great about that is just he's created a fan. But I'm sure I'm not the only one he does that with. I'm sure I'm not,
Well, no.
but
And
he's got a huge following.
I
He's got
mean,
a huge
here's
following. And I know it's because he's authentic and because he makes himself exclusive. And he's now independent, which means he doesn't have that big franchise, but he still manages to, and he brought his brand to his people. He sold them
Mhm.
t-shirts. He brought them, brought
This
them
is
authentic gear. He
this
made them
is
feel like he could be part of
really
them.
this is really this really applies to what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Music, wrestling, all these kind of things is the
Mm-hmm.
people that we're talking about that were successful or that are successful are they have created micro communities which many times have
Exactly.
now blown up to be even bigger
You're
communities.
right.
If we think about like where Taylor Swift started out,
Oh
I'm not a
yeah.
Swiftie, but
Yeah.
where Taylor Swift started out, and now she's got Swifties around the world to the point where the Eras tour, where literally she is the world's billionaire storyteller. So again, if you're not paying attention, I always tell people this: they're like, "You're a Swiftie, and I just don't like Taylor Swift. She can't sing, she can't do this, she can't do that." I go, you know what she can do? She can write a story into a song and get people to buy it. And
Yeah.
so if you're a storyteller and you're not paying attention to the billion-dollar storyteller in the world,
Yeah.
probably the highest paid storyteller in the world, you're missing something. Even if you don't like her, pay attention to how she runs her business,
Yeah.
right? She's got Swifties. She gives them exclusive things. There was an exclusive thing at Target. When was that? When the Eras Tour launched or whatever. And there were people lined around the building starting at 4 o'clock in the afternoon for something that dropped at midnight.
Mm-hmm.
Why? because they're that dedicated to her brand. Was it
Mhm.
something that was like super unique or whatever? It was a little bit unique, but you know what I mean? Like it wasn't all
But she
the main
created
thing
that
was it
community by
said,
creating that exclusivity, right? Like by making
right.
people feel like if you get this, you're special. If you
And the
get
same thing,
this,
like
you're
one of my other
special.
favorite bands, Sleep Token, they were so small until they released their album, Take Me Back to Eden. The month before they released that album, they had an average of between 3 and 4 thousand listens a week on Spotify.
Mm,
And they went to 300,000 within 3 weeks, from 3,000 a week to 300,000 a week in a 3 week period.
wow.
What happened? Well, they were working at it, working at it, working at it with this micro community, this little group of fans that, like, if you knew, you knew, but if you didn't know. And all of a sudden, now everybody knows who they are.
Right.
And what happened? Well, they built a micro community of fans, of followers, and then that ignited and made them a bigger group of followers. But it started with that small micro community and that exclusive, and they still have exclusive things on their website. You can get vinyl, you can get merchandise, things that you can only get directly
Get
from
from
them.
them. Hmm.
There's nowhere else you can get it. So when we're talking about exclusivity, we're not talking about Kindle Select or putting your books on or putting
One
your music on
platform.
Spotify, because that's trying to reach a mass audience on a
Hmm.
single platform. And here's the thing, like we were talking about this, Stacey and I were talking about this before we started recording, where basically there are, so 5, 7 years ago with Kindle Unlimited, Kindle Select, as they call it on the back end for authors,
Hmm.
if somebody read about the length of your book, you'd get paid about what you'd get paid if you sold your book. But that has incrementally dropped, and now you have to have 3 people read that number of pages to get the cost of one of your books, right?
Right.
It hasn't. The situation for us as authors has not improved. It's been diluted by more and more authors joining Kindle Select and Kindle Unlimited. For Amazon, the profit margin has stayed exactly the same,
Right.
right?
Amazon
How
doesn't
is
care.
that
They're
good for you?
peddling.
And you're
Yeah.
not developing community in Kindle Select.
You
You
don't
may
know who
be
your
developing
community
reader
is.
follows that are there, that are reading
Hmm.
your stuff, but you don't know who they are. You don't have their email addresses. You can't
Exactly.
contact them. Now we have the ability, if you collect phone numbers, to do SMS messages to your followers. And I don't necessarily recommend this for
I don't really
authors yet.
recommend that for authors.
Not yet. It's possibly coming, but email is still the answer primarily for authors. But having an email and a website that offers things that people can get your ebook anywhere. That's fine. And I'm not telling you to pull your ebook from those
Oh
places.
no, I'm not telling you
No,
either.
no,
Yeah, no, no.
don't do that. The things that you offer on your website, you can offer your ebooks there, but offer exclusives like large print or limited editions
Or signed
or
copies.
special audiobooks. In fact, you could offer audiobooks on CDs because
Hmm.
kids are buying CDs again. You know, that nostalgia stuff is back. But look, you can offer all of those things exclusively on your website and said, yes, you can buy my ebook anywhere. But if you want these special things, you have to back my Kickstarter. You have to be on my website. Why? Because that's where you can actually connect with the person. You have their email address. You can connect with them personally. When we send out rewards from our Kickstarter that we just did, we're sending personal notes in like all of them.
Hmm.
Why? Well, because we want to connect with those
We
people. If I
want
want
those
the next
people to
time we
know that
have
we
a
appreciate them.
yeah, the
Yeah.
next time we have a Kickstarter, I want those people to go, those people at Alibi were amazing. Look at this thing they sent me. If you haven't seen Vincent Zandri's, we should link his video, his
Yeah.
unboxing video below this. We as publishers offered him something he has never gotten from a publisher, and he's been working with publishers since 1995.
Right.
And he goes, you guys are different.
Mm.
Everything he said about us is that we're different. Why? Because we're trying to build a community of authors. I'm not trying to publish a one-off author and say, now I published your
And
book, go your
we're
way.
not trying to publish
Next, we're
every
not doing
author.
that.
That's not what we're doing. We wanted to create a space and a publisher where the authors that came on with Alibi were specifically getting that care and that attention that they needed from a publisher. that they don't get from other publishers. And really, that's really
Right.
what we're missing, right, in this world, is this attention and this care. There's too many people, there's too many things out there that you can get mass produced. I mean, it's one of those things where my dad, I'm not meaning to sound, I'm not trying to sound racist. That's not what this is. But my dad would always say things like, hey, that toy was made in China, like it's garbage, when I
Hmm.
was growing up, like that was just because everything was so mass produced back in the 80s that it was just cheap, right? Like it was
Hmm.
just cheaply made. Um, and we don't want you or your brand to be diluted like that. We want you to understand that
Hmm.
having exclusive things that you can offer your readers, or experiences that you can offer your readers, that should be something that only you and you alone can offer. And just to give you some ideas, today I was talking to Tom Schreck. I don't think he'll mind me sharing this. Tom Schreck writes thrillers. He's a boxing dude, like, so everything he does is
Hmm.
boxing. And one of his characters, his favorite drink is a Schlitz, right? So he loves Schlitz. And so he said that at one of his writers conventions and book fairs, is he would give away drink cozies that looked like a Schlitz can, and it would have his book information.
Hmm.
And that was one of the things he would give away. And he says, I don't know, maybe I should start, selling those on my website to my readers, or giving them away when people
Hmm.
buy books from me. I'm like, absolutely.
Oh yeah, that's a Kickstarter level right
Absolutely.
there.
Yeah. Or it's
Yeah.
just, something to offer on your website for people when they buy your book from you directly. Like that is a cool little perk, right? I have another client that she has this amazing, cute little children's book that she's written, and she's having plushies made of the little cat that she has in her
Hmm.
books. And she's writing this series, but she wanted to offer something unique and different that was special for her. And she decided to have plushies made. So she's having plushies made, and she's going to, offer those through her website so that people can get the plushie of Snickerdoodle through her. Those are the kinds of things I'm talking about. I know that Ashley and TG Brown, when they're publishing and they're selling their books to their audience, they started just doing fun little bookmarks, and sometimes little markers and stickers. And I mean, I
Hmm.
got a little, like, when she gave me her his latest book from the Noir Press, that he was published in. It was she put like some stickers and things in that. It was super cute. I was like, oh my gosh, this is fun. I felt special when I got that, even though I'd done multiple books with them. I felt special from Ashley and Tyler, because I know
Because you get the
Ashley.
thing. Yeah.
Well, it's not just the thing;
Oh,
it's that Ashley
well,
put
yeah.
that together for me, and that made me
Right.
feel special. So
Like this. Okay, so this is. I'm sure you guys know I am not a serial killer. The movie and then the author that was the book is
oh
from.
yeah,
Well, this is signed by that author because I had his. First of all, I know him, but I also had
yeah,
his ebook and stuff, and I didn't want to buy another. I was at a book fair and I didn't want to buy another book. I already had a backpack full. And he would sign that and give it to people who were just fans, right? Who are
that's
just
awesome.
fans of his. And it's super fun to get to have something like that. Like that's right on my desk, right? It's like it's just something that I have that I'm like, this guy gave this to me. This is
Yeah,
actually really cool. So I mean, there's things like that. There's other things like that you could do. You could have author events that are exclusive and ask me anything where there's only 25 people allowed in, even on a Zoom call,
yeah,
right? And I've seen authors do it. And what's funny is people will pay for that, or if you want to do it for free, but just make those fans feel special, just
mm-hmm.
limit it to 25. And those people will brag to their friends. I was on the call with this author. He is such a cool dude. Amy Lee from Evanescence had a thing like that during lockdown, during COVID and lockdown.
Oh
And it
wow,
was
yeah,
so cool. And like, there were people, we just couldn't, some of us, I was there, and some of us could not just stop talking about it. Like it was so cool because she was so normal and natural in her environment. She was in her jeans and t shirt, and she's like,
yeah.
oh, I got something I want to show you guys. And she goes off camera and comes back with something else, and it's like, oh, this is a real person.
Yeah.
But also, like, there's only a few of us that get to see this
Yeah.
person.
So you
And
get to
so we're
feel
telling all our
like you're,
friends, but
yeah,
you feel a part of the
you
community.
feel
You
part of
feel like
that.
you
Yeah.
belong,
Hmm.
and she may have done a ton of those things with a bunch of different people, but at that moment, you feel special.
Yeah.
You feel unique, like you have gained something
So
special.
what that does for
Um,
your readers is it makes them feel that way. And then what they do is they go and they tell their friends and they say, "Oh my gosh, this author is amazing. I got to do this with them. And look at this thing I have that I got from them. I bought it from Kickstarter or whatever." Or I get to be one of the things that Ashley and Tyler are doing. They're a great example of things to do. One of the things that they did in their latest Kickstarter is if you bought into that certain tier, you got to have your name in the acknowledgments, right? So they're going to put those
mhm.
names in the acknowledgments. So she like has a list of names that we're putting in the acknowledgments. And it's so great because it's one of those things where people now get to say, look, I'm in the book,
Mhm.
like I get to be, you could say, like you want to be in my book, like buy
Yeah,
into
I
this
had a
tier and I will make a character in your book. I will drop your name in the
I
book.
had just a name the character thing in one of my books. Oh, and then one of my books actually, and this was super successful. It was super fun, and it made the book. So the book was originally with a small press,
Uh-huh.
but it actually went kind of gangbusters, and it's in the British National Library. It's all kinds of places. I mean, that book is all over the place. And then I got the rights back and republished it again. But I was struggling to come up with the name of the book, with the title for the
Oh,
book. I
yay.
had all this other stuff, but usually I come up with a title. I could not. I had a few choices, but just nothing quite fit. I couldn't come up with a title, so I put it out to fans and said, "Hey, you want a signed copy of this book? As soon as it comes out, help me name this book. I'll have a contest. Whoever gets the most votes, I'll put up, my top choices. Whoever gets the most
Mhm.
votes wins." And that book is Stray Ally, and that was named which is a great name,
It
and it
is a
was
great
totally named
name.
by one of my fans. Like, it wasn't. I didn't come up with that name, but I didn't have to, because I had this crowdsourcing thing. I'm like, oh, that's a really great name. And the whole time people are voting, I'm like, come on, Stray Ally. But I'm like, I can't break the process now. I have to
Right.
let people pick, because I promised I would. But I mean, that presented, like, all the people that commented on all those posts and were watching that on my website and stuff were all like super engaged and like, oh my
Yeah.
goodness, I got to say in naming this book, I got to vote for the best title. I got to, all of those things. So it was a super neat moment and a super neat time of just, and this is what we used to do a lot of this when I first
Hmm.
started indie publishing. And then we went away from it to this ads based thing where we're shooting for the mass audiences on these big
Hmm.
platforms. And the result is exactly the things that we talked about. We put money ahead of the art. So we're not
Right.
finishing the art and having this great, wonderful artistic product and then going, now let me sell this. We're going, how can I create this art so that it's worthy of being sold and will appeal to the masses on the Amazon algorithm? And what keywords should I be using in my titles and my chapter titles? And what keywords should I be putting in the, no, that all should happen organically from your creation of the process of the product of the art, and then you determine how you're going to sell it.
Right.
Right,
Right.
it's just we put some things backwards, so that's one of the results of that, and the other result of that is that we're chasing those mass audiences and that money so much that we forget that really what it's all about is connecting with our readers. The best moments I've ever had as an author is not when I have a day where I sell 8,000 books. That's not the best day. The best day is when I get an email from a reader who says, "This story touched my life."
Hmm.
That's the best. That connection is better than any amount of money that I've ever made off of any book.
Hmm.
So, I mean, I think this is just we're kind of coming back to our roots of this idea of micro communities
Hmm.
from this explosion that happened where we just made publishing into this huge commercial deal without a thought for what really matters. Why did we
Right.
start doing this in the first place? And so it's created this explosion. It created the whole rapid release thing long before AI came along, where people were just burning themselves out writing a book a month because if you did it long enough, the algorithm loved you and you made money.
Right.
Now, you would go pasty white, you'd be super fat, you'd be pasty white because you hadn't seen the sun. You
Right.
would live in a big house that you bought with all the money you made from your books, but you'd only ever be in like one or two rooms because that's all you had time to do. And you would just eventually, like, we saw people burn out and burn out and burn out, and people that were making six figures as an author, in 2 years later, they were gone. They were out of the industry. They quit. They were like,
Yeah.
I can't do this anymore. Well, you couldn't ever do it in the first place,
Hmm. That's true.
right? That is not that you could never do it in the first place. It did not work long term. It was not a sustainable choice, arguably, for anybody ever from the start of the whole rapid release thing. You couldn't continue to do it forever. It's not a sustainable career, which is what we talk about. So, I mean, anyway, so I feel like we're going back to roots we had before and going, okay, let's go back to where we had bulletin boards and Facebook groups where you could actually reach the people in your group. Instead, let's have that group elsewhere, Discord, wherever, so that people can actually reach the authors that they want to be in touch with. Instead of when they follow you, then they really get to follow you. When they connect with you, they really get to connect with you, not this artificial connection that we
Right.
have on Facebook where you have to go and look to see what that author said. I have authors that I follow that sometimes I just search their page and go look and I see, oh man, there's been 9 new posts that I never saw. You know,
Right.
I
That's
mean,
amazing. Right.
it's just amazing. Anyway, so Troy
Well,
rant, slow
I'm
me
gonna add
down.
a couple of things in here that I think will be helpful for authors. One of the things that what we're trying to say here is, like, you still want to go wide with your distribution because you want to be able to
Yes.
you want to be able to advertise, have people find you. So what we're trying to say is you want to make sure that you're accessible, and that being accessible means being easily found. Ease of use,
Hmm.
ease of transaction, that is sometimes going to win you out in the day. But what happens is you want to, in that process, also make sure that there is a way for them, if they, those extras, those people that are a little extra, they want to find you, they can, and they can connect with you. And there are more and more
Hmm.
people that are doing that. So that means you guys need to have a website. You guys need to have a means to be reached. That means having an email address or an email system that you can be accessed from. And that usually means having a form on your website or, landing page or whatever, so that people can actually reach out and subscribe to notifications from you. Now, Troy and I have recently just put out a couple of videos. We made it exclusive for our people only for a little while, but now they are now live, and I will make sure that those are in the description below. But you guys can access Tertulia. That is actually becoming a really great, inexpensive way for you as an author to have those landing pages, make that page accessible, have those buy links on there that people can get books exclusively from you, but also so that they can sign those forms and stay in touch with you. So
Hmm.
there's contact forms that Tertulia builds into those templates, and they are just perfect. They're quick, easy, succinct, perfect. So
Hmm.
I highly
Well,
recommend them. And we have a partnership link with them. So you're welcome to use that to get your
hmm.
access to Tertulia. And then, see what our deep dive was on that website. It's awesome.
Hmm.
But yeah, what were you going to say?
Yeah. Well, what I was going to say is that having the email list is this, and a website is the starter point, but then
Mm-hmm.
you should join or
Mm-hmm.
create reader communities. The
Reader. Yeah.
mistake authors often make is on their social media and other places, they connect with other authors. And while it's great for us to commiserate with one another about this terrible and wonderful business that we work in, um,
they're not going to be your fans.
they're not your buyers, they're not your readers, and they're not your fans.
Right.
So connecting with other readers, with readers, is really important. Well, probably, hopefully, you as an author are a reader as well. So when you're reading things, you can talk to people about those things. Now, you can build your own community, Discord, Circle, Oh,
I
there's
think
a bunch of other
school,
ones. School,
SKOOL.
SKOOL, school, circle, Discord. All these places are places where you can create a community. And then you can host that community, or you can join communities that are already existing.
Right.
And just be where readers are talking about books. Reddit is actually a great place to
Yeah.
be and talk about thrillers and books and stuff like that, right? Or whatever your genre is. There's communities for everybody. There's boards for everybody on those things. But being a part of that reader community is really important because that's how you make that personal connection.
Right.
That's how
Right.
you make that thing of, because it's exactly what Stacey was talking about. We want you to be available wide because the way that people find you is they find your book first somewhere and then they finish it. In the back of that book, you say, hey, if you want to get connected with me, if you want special things from me, this is the way to stay in touch.
Right.
And they find you through those things. They come to your website, they come to your email list, and that's where that connection begins with
Yeah.
those readers. Sometimes it can begin on social media. You respond to their comments, they send you a DM, something like that. But eventually it needs to move off of those platforms into your own world.
Right.
So
Exactly.
that's really what we're talking about.
The other thing
Yeah.
I think to make because this can get overwhelming. I know
Mhm.
most readers are a little neurodivergent. I know I see you guys out
You
there with
mean
the tism.
writers?
That's what I meant. Writers,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I see
Yeah.
all you
Not
writers out
all
there
of
with.
our readers,
Yeah,
readers.
no. But
Yeah.
writers with the tism and writers with the ADHD, I
And
mean,
the
some of you are, and the
ADHD.
odd, yeah. You guys, just
Yeah.
so we're clear, I don't believe all of you are diagnosed. I think that we're just calling it, we're just blanket diagnosing. But I will say this, like, we all have a little bit, creatives are a little weird. And that's why we always tell you stay weird, because that's what's important. Your creativeness is what makes you weird, and it's awesome. But sometimes that weirdness kind of makes things overwhelming, right? We kind of get overwhelmed with big pictures. So I'm going to bring this in. Your job
Mhm.
as an author, is to focus on that. Imagine that community already, that you have that community already. Imagine that you already have that 1,000 fans. Imagine, and you might only have 2 right now.
Mhm.
And that's okay. I want you to treat those 2 people with all the love and care that you would want to be treated with if you were part of a community. And I want you to nurture and take care of those 2 fans really, really well. And when it's 100 fans, nurture and care for those 100 fans. And then when it's 1,000 fans, nurture and care for those 1,000 fans. And I'll give you I'll give you the advice I gave Tom Schreck today when he asked me, what do I do? What ads should I set? How do I go about the launch? Do I need to, go to BookBub and place an ad? And do I need to go to Amazon? Do I need to go to Facebook and Meta and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, Tom, I want you to focus on your 1,000 fans. I want you to look at your 1,000 fans right now. And I want you to nurture them. And I want you to take care of them. I want you to let them know that you're alive. I want you to let them know what you're doing. I want you to tell them all about what you're working on. And then we can build out from there. But I promise you, those 1,000 fans, when they start to see Tom cares about me, Tom's telling me what's going on, Tom's excited about this new project, I want to buy Tom's next project, they're going to tell their friends, and they're going to tell their friends. And that organic growth will happen. But you have to start with what you have. So
Right.
that's my advice, is bring it in, people. Don't try to say, well, I don't have any fans. Well, then start with social media
Start with your
and
mom
get
and one of
2
your kids.
followers, right?
Yeah.
Like 2 followers, just 2 followers, and just look at them in the eyeballs and say, hey, thanks for being here. Just like what Troy and I do when we say, thanks for being the one listener that's made it this long in this video. Like, honestly,
Well, the
whoever
other part
you
of that
are.
is like, if you're going to branch out and do ads and stuff like that, please, for the love of all that's holy, don't try to learn everything all at
Yeah,
once,
please don't. It's
because
too
you won't.
much.
Pick one platform
Right.
and learn it. And then if you want to add another platform later, absolutely do that.
But get good at
But
something
because the
first.
way you're going to get those dedicated fans is by doing one platform really well.
Right.
Now, and for some people that's Facebook and Facebook ads. For other people, it's TikTok and a TikTok shop and doing lives over there. Whatever
Hmm.
it is for you, great, awesome. Pick your poison, right? But pick one thing to start with first. If I'd been talking to Tom Shrek, I'd be like, nurture these fans. But if you really want to branch into ads, pick
Yeah, and we
one,
did talk about
and do
that.
one.
We
But
talked
anyway,
about one in
that's a whole
particular, but that
that's
would
a whole
be
thing.
good for him. But
But
yeah, so yeah,
so
it's definitely
I
like that, right? Just keep
but
it
I do
simple,
want to talk
stupid.
about one more thing
Okay.
because we're going to talk about an exclusive thing that we're doing.
Oh
And we're going
yeah,
to give
okay.
you guys a completely unique opportunity because we have some bigger names involved in
Hmm.
this than me, and then Stacy. And so I have a feeling that when we open things up to their audiences and to broader audiences, that we're going to sell out an event that we're doing in October. And the reason we're going to sell it out is because there's really only 18 slots available.
Hmm.
Like it is so limited. I almost feel bad because of how limited it is, but I can't make it bigger. It's just not this year. It's not even possible.
Right.
But so we are holding a writing retreat in October in conjunction with Nick Nelson and Wordsmith Writing Coaches at a Norwegian house that's actually called Mountain
It's a
House,
Norwegian mountain home.
Fjordheim, which means
Feldheim means mountain
mountain
home.
house,
Yeah.
mountain home.
Hmm.
Okay, okay. But anyway, but we're having it there. There's an extremely limited seats. We have early bird pricing that's happening right now, but I will just tell you that it's not cheap,
Mm-mm.
but it's an exclusive, amazing opportunity. We're going to have Becca Syme and Roland Denzel there. I will be there. If you want personal one-on-one editing time and coaching with us and with Stacy and with Nick as well, you will have that opportunity in a way that no one else gets to. And the reason is, here's one of the reasons that even if we expand this retreat, we're never going to expand it to a huge number of people. It's not going to turn into 1,000-person conference. And
Mm-mm.
here's
This is not a
why.
conference.
I want you to come, and I not only want time to work on my own stories, which I will take, but
Me too.
I will. But because I did this last year and it was amazing when we did our first year last year, and I spent some time on a story that I really wanted to spend time on, and it was amazing. But I want to hear about your stories. And if I have 18 people, I can hear about all your stories. If I have 150, I can't hear about all your
Yeah.
stories anymore. And
Yeah.
what
And
matters, the
say,
whole reason that I do this, all the things that I do is not money. Because if it was just for money, I'd find a big venue and get as many people packed in there as I
yeah,
could, invite a whole bunch of writing coaches and be like, well, if I don't hear about your story, somebody will. But that's not the way I want to
that's
do
not what
things
it is. Yeah, that's not
because
what this
I
is.
love stories. The whole reason I tell stories and I write stories and I edit stories and I book coach people is because I love stories.
Hmm.
So the reason we're doing this retreat, in part, the reason I'm involved with it is because I love stories. The reason it's small is I want to hear about all of your stories. And if I have a huge group of people, I won't have time to do that. If I have a small group, I can spend time with each and every person that comes to that retreat. And that's really important to me.
Right.
It's really important to me.
Really important. Hmm.
So when you're offering something exclusive, part of this is like show your readers your heart, that you
Hmm.
care about how your story affects them and why it matters to them.
Right.
Because that's really what this is all about is connection. I
Right.
want people to come to a writing retreat with me and connect with me, and I want to connect with them. I want us to become friends. I don't care if it's your first novel or your 14th. I really don't. Okay. It doesn't even matter because I want you to have that opportunity in that time. I want to spend time with you, right? It's just the way I'm built. It's just the way that I am, right? And what I
Hmm.
want. And if you can get that feeling for your readers where these people now have become my tribe, they have become
Hmm.
my friends, they have become the people who make it possible for me to keep doing this writing thing. If you can get that, you won, my man. And I don't care
Hmm.
if you're making $30,000 a year or 150,000. It doesn't, that money number makes no difference to the number of people that you're reaching and touching with your stories.
Right.
So that's what
Exactly.
matters. If we can embrace that, if we can embrace that micro community over mass audience and focus on connection, I really think that a lot of the things that authors are worried about right now happening in the world around us are not going to matter. They're not going to be able to touch you if you have that. I really
Exactly.
do believe it.
Exactly.
Anyway.
So yeah. So if you're interested in Feldheim, like Troy said, we're offering this early bird pricing until June 1st. You can go to Feldheim Writers Retreat.com. I will put the link in the description, but you are welcome to ask questions about it if you want. The schedule is there, and like Troy said, Becca Syme and Roland Denzel will be with us the entire week. Nick Nelson and myself will be there as editors on staff, and we will be there to help you as well. We have an amazing program lined up, but again, this is not just about, we're not going to be just hammering a bunch of stuff into your head. We're going to give you some very succinct, very specific coaching, and then let you actually implement that and have some writing time and a very beautiful setting that hopefully helps you feel like you can escape a little bit from your everyday life and feel like you can get some
South Lake Tahoe.
Yeah.
And it's
we're
only
calling
a
it
couple
get
of
away to
hours
get
a
it
day.
done. Yeah, we're calling it
There's
get
only
away
a
to get it
couple
done.
hours a day for instruction. Only a couple hours a day. The rest of the time is yours to, well, surprise, it's a writing retreat. So
to write. But I will say also it's all inclusive. Like all your food, everything is included. And so and we've got a really amazing cook on staff that's going to be there, and she actually cooked for me this last night? It feels like
2 nights ago. 2 nights ago. Because I still have the herbs that we dried that we're supposed to send with you. They're hanging on my door.
Oh no, I'll have to get them.
Anyway.
Anyway, it was really, really good. But yeah, so I've sampled her cooking. It's delicious. But yeah, it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be a great time. So if you're interested,
except for your travel, but we have a couple of people on our staff, i.e. our spouses,
not mine though,
who will help you with travel arrangements, right?
We'll get you there.
We'll get you with somebody that will help you find your way there. And by help you, we don't mean financially. They will help you plan your trip.
But the reason this early bird pricing is there is really so that we know that, like that this can be, it's exclusive. We're bringing in Becca Syme, Roland Denzel, guys. I mean, seriously, aside from the lovely Troy, who is like a superstar of the indie world, I mean, come on, guys. Becca Syme, like that was like, I'm fangirling over this woman every time I see her. So yeah, just amazing resources and people that you get to have exclusive one-on-one time with. So it's gonna be amazing. So yeah, if you're interested, let us know. But also the information will be in the description. And also Tertulia is gonna be down there as well. And if you have any questions or you guys want one-on-one time with Troy and I, you can get that still too. Troy and I are available. We make ourselves very available through Print to Pro and through the Plot Dude and the Plot Abides and through Edits by Stacy. You can find us easily. We're all over the internet. We don't hide, but I offer a free 1-hour consultation. We teach, both of us teach for free every month, where we're giving free instruction. In fact, mine is this Wednesday.
Oh shoot!
Oh, Thursday. Thursday. Yeah,
yours will be over by the time we do this broadcast. Mine will be the Tuesday after this broadcast airs. And it's going to be
but they recur each month. But
they recur every month.
Every month.
Also, there are replays available for these things, so you can sign up ahead of time. Anyway, but the reason we do that teaching for free. Why do I do that teaching for free? Because I love story.
Yeah, we want people to succeed.
Yeah.
excuse me, we
This
don't
this
want
is why
people to,
Stacy emphasizes the business side of writing, but her stuff, let me just tell you, okay,
oh, you
commercial
don't have to.
commercial break. No, 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 no. Because I mean, obviously, I love my stuff. I love talking about craft. It's super fun. But the business stuff that Stacy, I've been in this business a long time, right? And I've taken stuff away from almost every one of Stacy's sessions because she knows what she's talking about.
Thanks.
So register for Stacy's sessions, not because we have to balance as authors and do this
Yeah.
both. And I know I talk a lot about the craft of you got to finish the
Oh, I
draft,
love the
got to
craft.
be beautiful.
Yeah.
Put
Yeah.
the art before you put the business, right?
That's
But I
true. It's
what
all
that doesn't
true.
mean is put the art before the business but completely neglect the business. No, that's not what I mean by that. Because if I
Well,
say that too loud, my wife will appear and be like, "No Starbucks for you." So,
well, I
you
will
know,
say
there.
this. This month we are talking about the budgeting side of things, and I will be touching on scams, specifically how to avoid scams. We talked about this a little bit with Angela Hoyd last week. But
Mhm.
I will be talking a little bit more about that in the budgeting stuff, because I'll talk about what we're specifically supposed to be spending money on in this business and what we shouldn't be spending money on in this business. And so again, every one of my classes are going to be very, very I guess specific about certain topics. But yeah, if you're interested, you can go to my website at printapro.com. You'll see Plot Dude signups for his classes, and you're going to also see the Print to Pro classes for the power sessions every month as well. And you can see the whole year's lineup. They're all planned out, so you
Mhm.
can see which ones you want and which ones you want to sign up for ahead of time. You can do that. But anyway, enough promotion. We hope you guys have
Yeah.
had a lot of good feedback today
Yeah. Or like
about
exclusivity. Here's all the things you can
here's all the
exclusively
things
get
we
from
can
us.
do. Here's all the things that you get from us. But yeah, so but we want you guys to know that you're the reason we do this. The author's the reason we do this. We do this for, I mean, otherwise I would have quit a long time, long
Oh, yeah.
time
I mean,
ago.
let me just be clear that if you come to my free webinars and you listen to our podcast and you never ever hire me and pay me a dime ever,
It's
I am
okay.
still
We're
eternally
okay.
grateful for you
Mm-hmm.
because I want you to succeed. It money matters to me only as much as it needs to.
Yeah. As long as I can
You
eat,
know,
I'm fine.
yeah, eat, live like a normal person. That's fine,
Get
but
my
just
occasional Dr. Pepper.
just know, or Dr. Pepper Peeps. Dr. Pepper Peeps,
Oh
it's
yeah,
the
those Dr.
season.
Pepper peeps.
Now's the season. It is the season. But anyway, I mean, yeah,
Anyway,
not to drag this out, but I mean, just to tell you guys that, like, if the only thing, as much as we're talking about things we offer, if the only thing you ever get from me is stuff that's free, and you never pay me a dime, and you're never a paid client of mine, you never take one of my
it's
courses, I'm
okay.
still eternally grateful for you.
It's
I still
okay.
care about your stories. I still care about who you are,
Right.
and it is okay.
It's
It is
okay. Yeah,
okay.
that's because what we do for this business has, oh,
So
it's
little to
got
do with money.
there's
So little,
ripples. There's ripples.
so little to do with money.
Yeah.
But
So
anyway, yeah.
we appreciate you guys for listening. Those of you who are still with us, that one or two guys, text that Jeb. And also just a shout out also to our let me see if I hope I say this right. That Omada Bain writing. At that Omada Bain writing. He or she, I don't know. Sorry. I hope I'm not sounding sexist here, but they reached out to me recently and said that they would like us to hit on the topic of writing on writing platforms like Royal Road and Web Novel. And Troy and I decided we were going to talk about that, but after we get some resources kind of like in our head about it, we also want to bring somebody on board that knows a little bit more about that. We might bring in a guest or two maybe that we know that can talk a little bit more about these kinds of platforms and these kinds of writing options that are out there for people, because they're something that are a little foreign to me. I didn't even really understand or know what Royal Road was until Troy explained it to me. And so, yeah, it's one of those things where I was like, oh, this is new. Okay, well, we'll talk about this. But once he told me what it was, I was like, oh, okay, this makes sense. But again, it's not my specialty, but we'll bring somebody on. And so thank you, that Omada Bain writing, for suggesting that. We are thinking about it, and we are planning one. But if you also are listening still, and you're still the one or two other people that are listening, let us know there's anything that you would like us to touch on specifically. We are happy to help. Writing is our biz, so we're here to serve. Anyway, so that's it for us tonight. Yeah, and it's a late night because my internet went.
It is.
It was a weird day. Yeah. But yeah, it's okay. We've all learned. I've learned lessons, but it's okay. But yeah, so everybody keep reading, keep writing, stay weird. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Take care, everyone.